I'm just I wow. I'm genuinely here's the thing, right? I said yesterday what I said. Unfortunately, my prediction became true that I said they are going to miss the playoffs, and I said they're going to do it in this fashion. The Reds naturally lost their game, and I said the Mets are going to lose their game as well. And I'm sure many other Met fans felt the same way, and it actually came down to that way. I'm just like it was building up. I've said it for a while now. A lot of us thought it for a while. It does not make this any less disappointing. It doesn't make it hurt less when you saw even when you saw it coming. And all I could say is we got a lot to discuss this winter. That is this was the greatest collapse in franchise history. And do you know, in case you don't know, do you know how much that speaks volumes? Do you know that this is the same script that happened in '08 and '07? Do you know they collapsed in 2021? 2022, you could argue even, when they stumbled into the playoffs? 101 wins, I know. But played garbage all of September and lost in the wild card. Congrats to the Cincinnati Reds and their fans. Congratulations. And honestly, I was I got to a point during this game where I said I'd rather the Reds fans feel what we did last year about their us getting into the playoffs by the skin of our teeth. I'd rather the Reds fans get that feeling than have to go through the pain of watching this team in Los Angeles lay a giant egg on the field. I had no did anybody, even if by some miracle they came back, did anybody once we got to the 7th inning, 8th inning, whatever inning it might have been, the final straw for you, did anybody have an appetite to watch more of this? I sure as hell know that I didn't. I sure as hell know that I got to a point where I got to a point where I did not care because I can't sit through I couldn't. That now I don't have to, thankfully. I didn't want to have to bear through this any longer. And now I'm kind of just glad it's done because this game was this season just summed up. It was beautifully, it was beautifully done how this was summed up just so perfectly to a T to summarize most of the season. The only thing it didn't feature is a costly error. And I mean, I think you could say that's about it, right? Because we had a display of incompetent managerial skills, which Mendoza, he's going to be back. Um, I don't agree with it. You guys know that. And a lot of what he did in this game displays why he shouldn't be back. But I'll get to that later on. Bad managing and offense. One of the highest payrolls in the sport. And you put up a fat zero in the score column, in the run column, with the season on the line. If that does not sum up this season to a T, I don't know what does. And then this pitching staff. Sean Manaea can't give you more than an inning and 2/3. You could argue he should have maybe got pushed to go a little further. I'm for that argument. Brooks Raley's been your best reliever outside of Edwin Diaz. And they pulled him way too quickly. And that was just the display. This single move was just a perfect display of everything Carlos Mendoza has done wrong this year. Pulls Brooks Raley for his favorite reliever imaginable, Ryan Stanek. I am leaving with something. I do not have to watch this guy pitch for the Mets anymore. I am leaving with something here. Then, when Ryan Stanek inevitably implodes, he turns to Tyler Rogers, which, what's something that we've talked about at on the channel at nauseum this year. I wonder, ever since they got Tyler Rogers, what we've been saying. Oh, maybe that you don't bring him in with runners on base. Oh, and long and behold, that warmed up Edwin Diaz in that same inning as well. Why not just start the inning with Edwin Diaz if he's going to come into the game that early to just hold the fort down? But then this is another thing. Edwin Diaz, go 2 innings today, but against Washington, nah. Nope. Can't go 2 innings against Washington after throwing 7 pitches in the first inning. Gregory Soto, I thought he was just going to put the nail in the coffin here and just fully let this game get wide open. He got out of it just to give us a little bit of, I shouldn't say hope. No one had hope. If you had hope, you're delusional. But I don't even know. A chance? I guess you could say a chance. Whatever you want to even say. And when Pete Alonso came up with the bases loaded and an opportunity to tie, 116 off the bat and a line out. You literally cannot make it up. You just cannot make it up at all. And then that 8th inning, you have 2 on, an opportunity to claw back in. And here you have Jeff McNeil taking a embarrassing at bat, which I am hoping I saw the last game of him today. There's a lot of guys I am hoping I am not seeing in a Mets uniform next season that played today. And then Alvarez put together a decent at bat, struck out. And now, though, all of us have to lie in the misery of this. All of us have to deal with every other fan base in the sport just pointing their fingers and laughing at us. And rightfully so. Rightfully so. I cannot sit here and say it's wrong. Because it's like only this franchise, only this one, could add Juan Soto after making the NLCS and miss the playoffs last year. Because, we lost a journeyman backup infielder. We lost a pickleball player. All this to say, you saw a display of of it all today. You saw the incompetence of this manager displayed. You saw David Stern's garbage team that he fielded on display. What was left of it at this rate with the pitching staff. And most importantly, you saw this core that what have I talked about all season? Time and time again has done nothing but fail. You saw Alonso, Nimmo, Lindor, McNeil. Those four in particular. You saw those four do exactly what they did in 2021, do exactly what they did in 2022. Do you want to include 2023? I don't know what you even want to say about that debacle. And then 2024, that was the outlier. That was not because of these guys. That was because of said journeyman infielder and said pickleball player. And you saw this core put on what I hope was their final act. And it better be. Because if there is not big changes this offseason, what is the point? What are we doing next year? What is the point of having a next year? No one should be showing up to the ballpark next year if there's no changes. And it goes beyond the hitting coach who obviously needs to go, both hitting coaches, which that's where we need to freaking start with this entire thing. Jeremy Hefner, how long are you going to hang on to Aaron Loop's 2021 season as your gold prize of something that you did? He needs to go. And most importantly, like I said, most of the guys that I mentioned from that list need to go. It's not going to be Lindor. Could you get Nimmo to wave? You have to try. McNeil needs to go for sure. Alonso, he's probably going to opt out. And if he does, I don't care if he leaves. I do not care. I don't care about the home run record. I don't care about this Met for life thing. I don't care about this friendship above winning thing. I want guys that are going to take the bull by the horn to be on this team next year. And you had one guy, he didn't show up today. I'm not going to dispute it. And he didn't show up too much in April. But you had one guy try to backpack this team at the end of the season here. And no one really even appreciated it because the rest of the team around him was garbage. In Juan Soto, you had him be this lone wolf to try and drag this team by the horn. This offense by the horn. But again, he can't do it by himself. I know he's the highest paid athlete in the sport, so everyone thinks he should be able to do it every night. He can't. He simply can't. And you need guys around him that can. And these guys, no. Not at all. I don't care. To me, it's a very short list of guys that I'm willing to see back next year. They're not going to get rid of everyone. They're not going to get rid of a lot of these guys. But to me, beyond Juan Soto, Nolan McLean, and the other young pitchers, I really do not care who stays and who goes. I really do not care. Go ahead and ask me the question of who's going to replace these guys. I don't care. Because this mix has not worked. I don't care. You could talk about the individual stat lines and shove it up your ass. I don't care when the mix is not right. And that's been evident for years with this core. For 4 out of the 5 years. And if you really want to, especially with guys like Alonzo, McNeil, and Nimmo, you could date this back further. How about 2019 when they could have made the playoffs if they just simply got off to a respectable start? But that's a microcosm of this group. Just the streakiness every year. Even last year, every year. It's one thing to have bad stretches. Every team has bad stretches. It's one thing to, maybe one of the years have a collapse. Sometimes it just happens. But when it's every year where it is months of bad baseball, you do not have the right guys. And again, I do not care about their individual slash lines. You could tell me them all tomorrow, all you want to. I simply cannot care when this group is qualified for the playoffs twice. One of them was a happy to be there appearance, and the other one was an NLCS run that I will never forget, but seems like a fable today. And it's just that simple. But this president of baseball ops, this quote unquote genius that is David Stearns, you have your work cut out for you and a half here because a lot of these guys need to go. And you better field a way better roster than we saw this year because that pitching staff, that so-called pitching staff, the most inexcusable shit I've seen in my life. And now you might lose your closer because we didn't want to give up. We gave up all these prospects for rentals who we gave up prospects for rentals not to make the playoffs. Awesome. Gave up all these prospects, but we didn't want to go the extra mile to get a starting pitcher with control maybe or get a reliever with control who happens to be in your division because you didn't want to give up a top 5 prospect in the system when your closer might be on the way out. I digress. Might lose his closer. So how are you replacing that if he goes? Has half a rotation to fix, half a lineup to fix. These young guys, I don't want to see a lot of these young guys next year playing. I cannot do this with Ronnie Mauricio next year. I cannot do this. Mark Vientos, see you later. You had Jared Young playing in a do or die game. Falls on your president, who failed to add another bat at the deadline. Again, he went in. He went for it this year. Where was the willingness to go the extra mile then? One starter and one bat actually could have been the difference in this team making the playoffs versus not. I don't know how far they would go, but it makes a difference. We're talking about October baseball right now with just one more starter and one more bat. You could try to tell me I'm wrong. I don't think I am. Am I out of line? I don't think so. And I know that even then, I mean, you could look back at the countless games where they urinate all over themselves, but it's just one game, right? No reason to freak out over one game. It's just one game. Well, it came down to it being one game. So imagine those it's just one games. They actually flipped, like with Washington, or beating any of the bottom feeders in this division or beating the Pirates on the road. Can you imagine if this game was in Citi Field today? I mean, what a slap in the face to this fan base, though, that this is what we got. You have the owner call out the fan base that we're not showing up enough, set a record breaking attendance at Citi Field, and this is the thanks we get. We get the double bird right back in our face. Unbelievable. Do I even want to see the post game quotes today? Like, do I even want? Do I dare? Pete Alonso said he'll opt out of his contract. All right. See you later. Sorry. I know a lot of this fan base loves Alonso, and I know that I'm gonna get shit for saying that I don't care if he leaves. I don't. I really do not. But that's just me. You're entitled to your own opinion. I just simply don't care because I have no sentimental value to this group right now. The only one I am giving the keys to right now is Soto because you just locked him up into a 15-year deal. What are you going to do? Move him? You're never attracting a free agent if you think Juan Soto getting moved is the answer. I just can't sit here and be bothered right now if anyone goes. It just the ironic part about this all too with the season, it's just like how funny is it, right? That Juan Soto struggled all of April, parts of May, and it's like all of a sudden once he turns it up, the rest of the team just falls flat on their damn face. It's so Mets. It's so Mets. 21 games above 500 on June 13th. Need I remind everyone? I'm never going to forget June 13th for the rest of my life. Oh my goodness. 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position in a do or die game. I mean, just win that first game of the series, even. Just win a game against the Nationals. Win a game against the Marlins in your own ballpark in a 4-game series. Incapable of it, though. That was so much to ask for from this team that, remember, all we heard is that they have too much talent. They're not going to, we're too good. It's one thing if Mendoza says that to us. Clearly, that's the message he relayed in the locker room because no one was held accountable. These guys could get away with murder with this manager because he doesn't hold them accountable for anything. Countless mental errors throughout the season. Countless. And nope, laissez-faire. No need to no need to hold guys accountable for their mistakes. Let's see some of the quotes though. Carlos Mendoza was asked about this Mets season being attached to the players and coaches' legs. Until we win, it's going to be attached to all of us. Good one. They're still saying, oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Pete Alonso. Oh my goodness. He said the T word. He said the T word. No one wants to hear the T word right now. It's beyond frustration. It's just straight up disappointing. There's no way to sugarcoat it. Super talented team. Nobody wants to hear the T word. And the reality is we fell short. We didn't even get to October. How could you stand in front of the microphone and say that word? How could you do that? We're too talented. He actually had the audacity to say that. Sean Mania. Just very disappointing to close it out like this. Oh, you think? Oh, you think, don't you? Don't you think? Pete is asked how much of the Mets failing to put it all together as a team is on the coaches versus the players. I don't really know. Haven't even reflected on anything yet. It's tough to wrap your mind around it. You're Why is it SNY? It's tough to wrap your mind around it. It was never in anyone's mind that we'd be in this spot. And that's the problem. And that's exactly the problem. That it wasn't on your mind. That you never played with a chip on your shoulder at all this season. You just admitted the problem. Because if you had some sort of awareness, if you thought, maybe we are in trouble. Maybe you'd get in the box with some freaking urgency. Maybe. Or am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong considering they didn't worry and look at what happened. But it's okay. Give this group another chance because they'll learn next time. They'll learn the next time. Don't worry. This is only the fourth time it's happened. They will learn the next time. Nothing to worry about. That is the problem, though. Never played with a chip on your shoulder. Thank you for telling me that you knew the problem, that the problem was there all along, Pete. Then we have the opt-out quote, Brandon Nimmo. There is no question that we fell short of expectations for this goal. That's easily seen for this team. Cool. Cool. Again, play with a chip on your shoulder at some point this year. Maybe you get a different outcome. But nope. Now I have to attempt to go on social media at some point tonight, throughout the stay, watch other fan bases laugh, and then see 2024 Met edits. Unbelievable. They actually missed the playoffs. Is there any other post game quotes? Or again, am I going to be annoyed if I even refresh? Another Pete Alonso one. What is the important thing to Pete Alonso as he enters free agency? I just want to win. I know we didn't this year, but we had the right pieces. We just didn't do it. Want to be a team on top of the mountain and win a World Series. All right. Sure. I don't know if you have what it takes to be on that kind of team though. Because where's it been? Is there any? I want to see. Has Steve Cohen tweeted anything? It's a very important question. After his whole Fab 4 thing. No, nothing since August from him. Just thought I would look, considering that whole thing. Brandon Nimmo. Asked he was asked about the coaches as well. Same question Pete got. They could only do what they could do, but ultimately all responsibility comes back on us. Appreciate the accountability now that it's all wrapped up. Appreciate it. Man. We have to live with the fact that there's nothing. I want every Met fan to know this as well. There is no room. If the Yankees get eliminated, you're not allowed to say a peep. If the Phillies at some point in the playoffs get eliminated, don't say a word. You're not allowed to. We cannot laugh at any team that we despise if they get eliminated in October. Not allowed. No room to talk. No room to laugh. No room to say a word. We just have to wear this. And it's unfortunate because obviously it's out of our control as fans. But we can't go outside the same now. There's no going outside the same for a bit. Gonna have to hang my head down. Deal with the shame. That's all we could do. Cannot believe I have to move on to basketball and hockey this early. That makes me so sick. I was hoping that this would be a distraction from hockey for at least a few weeks to a month. I gotta jump right into hockey now before preseason even ends for hockey. Gotta jump back into it. Awesome. I didn't even read anything from the chat. I apologize, guys. Feel free to re-comment anything if you want to. I see some Phillies fans laughing it up. I can't say a word. I'd be doing the exact same thing if it was the other way around. I have nothing to say. I can't say a word. Any fan that is laughing like this, what am I supposed to say? I would be laughing it up too. Does not look like they are firing Mendoza. Because why hold guys accountable for a collapse? Which brings me back to the point that I remember that I was going to make at some point. If you are bringing Mendoza back, which it seems like they are, the leash better be the shortest leash imaginable. Shorter than the leash I walk my dog with, because there is no way, if this team gets off to a slow start next year, he could stay any longer. Which to me, if the leash is that short, I think you should just be firing him to begin with. But That's the scary part is the leash might not even be that short for him when it should be. And we have a lot of problems here. Very pissed off with David Stearns. Very pissed off. It will make a difference. It won't be the end all be all. Again, I think, like I said, it needs to be heads have to roll from the coaching staff and the roster. You can't sit here and say it's just the players. You can't sit here and say it's just the coaches. You can't sit here and say it's just the GM. Everyone. It is, there's not a single person exempt from criticism outside of Nolan McLean. Nolan McLean's the one guy in the Mets organization exempt from any criticism. Everyone else, fair game. It is not just the starting pitching. Did you see what the offense just did today in a do or go home game? They put up a 0. And this is why I'm pissed off at Stearns the most, is you had multiple opportunities this season to fire this hitting coach, and you didn't even want to try that. So now that's the problem too. This is my biggest issue with Stearns in general right now. If he's simply like, why is it that this is the only team that brings in a new member of the front office and they don't replace the entire coaching staff? It's just the manager. I would love to go back in time and somehow be able to tell David Stearns, hey, could you hire your own guys so we know if it's a player problem or a coaching problem? Because now I think it's both, but your guess is as good as mine. I can't understand. I can't justify David Stearns not bringing in his own guys when taking over. That to me will forever just make 0 sense. No, it is not one game. How long were they in the bottom of the league with runners in scoring position? How long? They were below the Rockies at one point. You cannot tell me it's one game. The starting pitching was a disaster. My friend, it goes to the offense too. No way you could sit here and tell me that it was just a starting pitching problem. No way. You could tell me they would be in the playoffs if they had one more good starting pitcher. Okay. But what difference was that making with this offense potentially? I'm sorry. I can't agree with that. And I'm not attacking you. I can't agree with that. And how many times? And you had the hitting coach just tell the whole world the game plan too. I have no words for that guy. Chavez is Chavez better be the first guy out the door. Just with the way he acts on social media too. Why can't it be both? I keep asking this question. Why can't it be both? It is both. I'm sorry, but again, no one's exempt from criticism here. I'm sorry if I'm giving the impression that I just think that firing Chavez will do something. I want him fired mid-season because I wanted to try to shake something up to send some sort of message. Because you weren't getting rid of guys in the middle of the season. You weren't getting rid of the roster. You're not doing that in the middle of the season. I simply wanted that change then because what else could you do? But now that it's the offseason, him and the players. See you later. And what does this matter when they still weren't getting the timely hits? Here, let's get one final look. Where they finish with batting average, in batting average with runners in scoring position. Let's find it out one more time, which it might not even update, including today. But let's take a look. Take a look. I want to do team. Filter that wrong. Do team scoring position. They finished. Where are they? They climbed to 8th because that August really freaking boosted them. But I can tell you right now, in July, they were below the Rockies. Great. Now my fantasy football team's doing horrible too. I got an injury to Lamar Jackson. Ah, you can't make this up. Everything's just going to shit today. All right. It's been almost 50 minutes of this post game show. This team's lack of comeback ability too. I mean, just don't even. Let me start. All right. All I know is this. It's been almost 50 minutes. I expect this to be the highest viewed post game show on this channel. Um, all I can say is I cannot believe though. We could argue. Right now, I see what you're saying in the chat, Jeff. We could argue this another time. Right now, I am not there. Right now, Met fans should be united in disappointment and embarrassment. And we could disagree another time about what went wrong and how you fix it. But all I know is this offseason got very interesting. And heads absolutely have to roll. And we got a lot of time to talk about this. There will be a lot of podcast episodes coming up to break down the disaster that was the 2025 Mets and finalizing the worst collapse in franchise history. And I say that because look at the payroll of this team. That is my argument. Nonetheless, thank you everyone for watching, especially if you tuned in through most of the season, because I know a lot of you guys were here for almost all 162. Just the way that, Matt and I covered these games for all 162. We appreciate it. Like game shorts for you, Luke, Tommy. I've seen you here a lot. Steven, I've seen you here pretty much all season long. Izzy, I've seen you. Lulu, I've seen you all season long. Luca, NP or NGPZ, seen you all season long. Jose, Freak Bleach, just going through the list. Pablo, Doug, a lot of you guys have been here through Hornet. Two cats. A lot of you guys have been here for pretty much all 162, and I really appreciate that. And I appreciate the support all season, despite I cannot believe I wasted months, months. I cleared my schedule multiple times for months for this. I cannot believe it. Nonetheless, this is where I wrap things up. I appreciate everyone that has been here. Um, whether you're a Mets fan or not, even if you're a fan of another team here to laugh it up, I appreciate you. And again, I'd be doing the same exact thing if this was happening to a team I hated. Don't get me wrong. I would absolutely be drinking the tears. But like I said, this entire offseason, there will be post game or not post game. I wish there would be more post games. Um, the entire offseason, there will be podcast episodes before the post game shows. It ends here until 2026. And it's unbelievable. Thank you everyone for watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you guys are new to the channel. Turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on Met Central. I'll see you guys in the next one.